Okay, next project. This is, I'll give you a second to guess what I'm building here. This is the bottom. The top's open. The top's going to be open. So basically this is a funnel, a very large funnel, open top tank type funnel. This is the sump. It's going to have 3 inches. I might cut this down. This seems a little bit tall. Maybe 2.5 inches. Square sump right here. And obviously these taper up to it. This is 16 gauge sheet metal. And I just use that for the purposes of welding. If you can see here, what I'm doing is the outside welded seam is welded and ground smooth. Okay? I start with the tacks just to make sure there's the warpage and stuff like that is minimal. When you're laying down a long straight bead like that, it's going to heat this metal up and try to warp it. You're going to want to tack weld every inch, every 2 inches to try to control that. If you look on the inside here, the weld's not beautiful. But there's an inside weld as well, a full bead that runs all the way down. I'm not grinding that weld. This weld on the outside was cosmetic, just so I can smooth out the edge and make it look like it's one piece. Inside weld is not just structural, but it's also to make this thing leak proof. Okay, this is going to hold vegetable oil. And if that hasn't given you any ideas of what this is going to be used for, I'll tell you right now. For a customer of mine, he's got a Volkswagen Turbo Diesel TDI, and it's been converted to run off of vegetable oil. This is something that you guys, if you're at all interested and don't know too much about running a diesel engine off vegetable oil, this is a build you're going to want to keep an eye on, because I'm going to explain all of it. Basically, I'm going to have this is 2 foot square, okay? I'm going to have a rack that's about, hopefully below 6 feet. I've got, my final height is going to be decided on a piece that I don't have. He has it at his house right now. Anyways, this is going to be the top tank, and it's a funnel. It's all gravity fed. The sump's here. There's going to be a hose coming out of one of these sides, depending on the piece that I don't have here. This will be the back up against a wall. He's going to have some sort of a screen filter on the top that he's going to pour the vegetable oil in. It'll pour into here. Here's a bit of information for those that don't know and haven't ever looked it up. 1 cubic foot is the equivalent of 7.4 something gallons. Okay, this is 1 foot from here, 2 foot from there to there. For those that are a little slow, that means this is 4 cubic feet. 1 here, 1 here, 1 there, and 1 there. Okay. Now, as far as what the sump is, as far as the extra capacity of the sump, I'm not sure. I could figure it out, but I don't want to. And the reason being is I'm just going to call this 4 cubic feet because it's never going to be full to the top. Okay? To the very tippy top. So this tank, this funnel, if you will, is going to hold, and I'm just going to underestimate it and just go ahead and say that it's 7 cubic feet in a gallon. So it's going to hold 28 gallons in this tank without overflowing, without being close to the edge. It'll be perfect. With having a screen filter on top, the whole works. This will be the top. Let me show you these drawings here. They're upside down, so I will draw it for you. I'm going to have 4 legs. Okay. Almost at the top of these legs here is going to be this top tank that I'm building. Okay? There's going to be a hose fitting into the sump towards the bottom, and then there's going to be another tank. Okay? This tank's going to have a much shallower sump on it. It's just going to be used as a spigot. So let's just, for the sake of this crude drawing, I'll show you that there's going to be a spigot there. On top of here is going to be this three-legged, what they call a centrifuge. That looks like a crock pot, or a pressure cooker, excuse me. And it's got right here is a heating coil. Okay? This feeds into the bottom of the heating coil. You're seeing that well. Oil travels up the heating coil, goes from here, and drips into the center of the centrifuge. Now the centrifuge has a big motor on the bottom of it, right there. And it's vertical. The shaft runs to the top. And it looks like a brake drum inside of it. The oil drips inside of that drum and it spins it really, really fast. All the nasty shit gets stuck in the drum and drains out of the bottom of the centrifuge and into a waste container. Okay, there's hardly any of that goes into the waste container. All the good oil will go over the edge of the drum. Okay, let's say this is the drum. The drum is got inside edges like that. And it comes up a little bit. The shaft of the motor's underneath it. And then the lid of the centrifuge is here with the fitting for the hose and the heater here. And then that goes up to the funnel, the top tank. It drips because this is spinning. The centrifugal force forces the oil up here. All the heavy crude stuff is going to get stuck along here and along here on the outside of this drum. The good oil is going to work its way over the top and come outside over this drum. Now that drum is spinning inside of this centrifuge. It's going to come down here and it's going to drip out of another fitting that's going to go from here straight down into this tank here. Okay? This tank here will have the spigot, and then he'll put his little 5-gallon, vegetable oil containers that's upside down to pour it in here and then transport it to his car and fill up his car. Okay? That's what I'm building. I'm not building this. That's going to be like a 2-liter bottle or another one of these little 5-gallon plastic jugs. I'm building the stand, I'm building the top tank, and I'm building this tank. This tank is going to be sealed completely. Okay? It's going to have an access hatch somewhere on this top plate. This will be bolted down to this plate. The reason being is I don't want any, this is good clean oil that's going to be in here. That's what the idea of the centrifuge is to clean the oil, to separate the used burnt crap that they use when making French fries or stir fry, and separate that from the clean oil which comes in here, and that's what's going to go into his car. I'm going to create a hatch because if for whatever reason down the road he needs to repair this spigot that's going to be here, or he just wants to clean it out. It shouldn't be dirty, but whatever. There needs to be an access hatch. So I'm going to make one that's big enough for you to get at least an arm in there. A side view of this setup is like this. You see that? This is the sump on the tank. It's off to one side. Bottom tank is here. It's going to come down here like that. This is meant to be at an angle. That sump is going to be very shallow. Spigot's going to be right there. Jug to pick it up is right there. Okay. That centrifuge is going to sit off to this side here. And I'm doing this for purposes of space. If this is too tall, he's not going to be able to pour it in there. 6 feet tall is pretty tall. You might still have to use a step ladder. But, you know, the hose will come out and go to the heater just like I drew over here. So this sump is going to hang down a lot further than this is. That's why it's like this. The sump's off to one side, the centrifuge will be on the other to try to minimize the height of this. But that's what I'm building. I hope that all makes sense. I'm going to show you guys, once this top tank is finished, I'll do a quick update. And then I'm going to start building the other tank. And there's nothing really to update on the second tank, so I'm probably not going to show you much there. I'll just show you when it's finished. And then I'm just using some of this 3/4 inch 16 gauge square tubing for the 4 legs on there. I was originally going to run the legs all the way from top to bottom of each tank, but I opted out for the sake of material. This stuff is strong. It's not going to need all that support. So for the top tank, I'm only going to go maybe 2 inches, 3 inches of that tube is going to come up here, and I'm going to weld it to the tank, and then I'm just going to bevel the edge and then cap the end of the tubing just so it's clean and nice. But I'm not going to run it all the way up here. That'll save me, you know, probably about 3 feet of material doing it that way, and it's not half-assed. It'll be plenty strong. So, but that's the plan. That's what I'm working on. Subscribe, comment, like. Talk to you guys later.